Hi everyone, I'm Shelly and you're watching There's No Place Like Home. Today is another video in my Question the Narrative series, and today I'm going to be talking to you about giants. No, I'm not even kidding. I'm going to be talking to you about giants. Now, first of all, I want to say that I am not an expert in any of these topics that I am bringing to you. The reason that I share them with you is just because I come across them, I find them interesting, I find that there is evidence that they might be not exactly what the narrative is that we are told about them. And I think it's really important that everybody learns how to do their own research. So I just want to bring these questions that I have to you, and maybe you could possibly look into them yourself and see what you think of them. I will say that if you would like an expert on giants, I would check out Steve Quayle. I will leave some links in the description box for him. He is excellent. I have several books of his, and there are a lot of videos that he has as well. But I'm going to start in Genesis 6, verses 1 through 4. When man began to multiply on the face of the land, and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of men were attractive, and they took as their wives any they chose. Then the Lord said, My spirit shall not abide in man forever, for he is flesh. His days shall be 120 years. The nephilim were on the earth in those days, and also afterward, when the sons of God came in to the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. These were the mighty men who were of old, the men of renown. So I think it's important to point out that nephilim is the same thing as giants. That's what it says down here. It could be either giants or it could be nephilim. Now, I'm just going to quickly say that if you're wondering who the nephilim were, where they came from, it says that the sons of God saw that the daughters of man were attractive. And I know that there is a dispute over who the sons of God were. Now, the Hebrew that was used for the sons of God was B'nai Ha-Elohim, and that is the same terminology, the same translation that was used to refer to angels in other parts of Scripture. So I believe that, yes, they came from the angelic realm. I know that a lot of people think that sons of God means, I think, sons of Seth. And my question would be, if they were just ordinary men, how would they end up having giant children with these women? So there's something up. And I will also say that if you look back at the ancient Hebrews, they looked at the sons of God as also being from the spiritual realm, not as sons of Seth. That sons of Seth theory is actually from Christian tradition. Dr. Michael Heiser has great work on this. If you want to check out Unseen Realm or Reversing Hermon, that's like another video entirely if you want to get into it. So I just wanted to say that in case you were wondering where these giants came from. So giants are not only mentioned in the Bible, they are known throughout the world, throughout different traditions, ancient traditions, all over the place. You will hear the same stories about giants. And giants are, they're found multiple places in the Bible. I'm not going to go over all of them today, but I wanted to go over this one in particular. This is 2 Samuel 21:20, and it says, In still another battle which took place at Gath, there was a huge man with 6 fingers on each hand and 6 toes on each foot, 24 in all. He also was descended from Rapha. And again, you're wondering, well, who's Rapha? Well, if you look here, it's giants. Same here, giants, giant. So Rapha was a giant, and his descendant had 6 fingers and 6 toes. And that is something that you will see in the Bible, is that, yes, they do have 24 digits. So now I'm going to show you this. This is about Polydactyly and 6-fingered and 6-toed giants in ancient cultures, not just biblical cultures. These specifically are talking about American Indian tribes. So this is the handshake ritual exploring polydactyly, which just means more fingers and toes than is normal, and giants in ancient cultures. And if you go down here, this is a pictograph that is found, and if you notice, there are 6 fingers. This is something that is found all over with Native American pictographs. You will also find them here. There's feet with 6 toes. And so, yeah, this isn't something that is just found in the Bible. Now, what this actually was talking about, the reason that it's called the handshake ritual, is because, you know, that cliche that we always used to have about Native Americans in movies, like from like the Lone Ranger and stuff like that, where the Native American would put up his hand and he would say, how? Well, the thing is that That was actually a greeting not used by all Native Americans. That is a stereotype that we don't want to get, too involved in. But there were, I believe it said, some Plains Indians who do use the that sort of greeting to one another. And we're going to talk about why. Why do they greet each other like that? So what it says here is the showing or shaking of hands came about to show that one was not of tainted bloodline. 5 fingers proved that one did not possess the traits of bloodlust and violence, which always accompanied the descendants of 6-fingered giants or men of renown. So the men of renown that we just talked about from Genesis 6, do you see that? 6-fingered giants in Native American culture, 6-fingered giants in biblical culture. And so this is something that you are going to find evidence of worldwide. It's not just in the Bible. It's not just in North America. It's everywhere. If you actually notice here, I hate the way that they are holding that person like it's some prize. But actually, if you will count, it does look like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fingers on that hand. And here's some more southwest, 6-fingered petroglyph. And you will see they all have 6 fingers. So this is something that was it was prevalent in lots of places, Native American creation stories and giants. And now we're going to talk about the how. And this is specifically why I wanted to share this with you. It says, no doubt we are familiar with the cliche Native American greeting of raising one hand while saying how, or more accurately, how. Of course, in 2018, no one assumes that every Native American tribe used this same greeting, but the point is the majority of the Plains Indians did while showing their right hand. The word literally means I have spoken. How gained popularity through early American literature, and by 1917, it was so stereotypically accepted that it found its way into U.S. World War I propaganda depicting Native American soldiers. Let's just go down here a little bit further. That just talks about how it was used in the movies. But I want to get to, and now I lost it. Okay. So why is it Native Americans showed their hands in such a manner when greeting strangers? The answer is quite simply to show that they are not of tainted bloodline and did not possess the traits of bloodlust and violence. A cursory search of giants among the ancient Native American tribes will reveal that while giants existed throughout the entire continent, they had a huge presence on the plains and the Southwest. This isn't to say that they couldn't be found all over North America, and most certainly they were. It's just that the majority of evidence has been found in the American Southwest. So again, I just found that to be really interesting. And then here we are talking about traits of the Nephilim and the giants. And what you are going to see is that, again, 6 fingers. They also they were known to be cannibals. And I'm not sure where else I saw it, but a lot of them referred to them as having red hair. Actually, the one Native American tribe, the Paiute Indians, I believe, they had a story of giants in Lovelock Cave that were actually burned out of the cave by the Native American, and they were said to be red-haired white cannibals about 10 feet tall. So that actually, and I hope you can't hear my neighbor's dog barking, but anyway, that brings me to this. Here we have a U.S. soldier who claims to have shot and killed a 12-foot giant in Afghanistan. You might look at this and think, that is crazy. I actually saw the interview, though, of the person. He sounds very sincere. I've seen it written also in book form. Obviously, they had his face hidden because they didn't, who would want to go out there in public and say this? But, yeah, and I just want to show you what he says here. Suddenly, a man emerged from the cave, standing 12 to 15 feet tall. He had a red beard, long red hair, fair complexion, 6 fingers on each hand, 6 toes on each foot, and 2 rows of teeth. And that's actually something that I had seen in the other one, is that is another trait that a lot of them have. They call it a double row of teeth. So this is something that, it brings me to the mounds. Okay, and first of all, I just want to point out, do you see all of these similarities now? So we have 6 fingers and toes. They're giants. They're mentioning red hair now. Sometimes they're mentioning double rows of teeth. And I wanted to come to the mounds right now. And these are, a lot of them are found like in Ohio. They're all over North America though. And I know that there were ancient stories, not ancient stories, but old stories that now they say that these were built by the Native Americans. And I mean, just look at them. They're just fascinating. And what a lot of people used to say was that they were not the Native Americans who built these, but that there was actually a race of giants who built these. And interestingly, back in the 1800s, it is said that there were giants that were found in the bones of giants that were found inside some of these mounds, which makes you question, could that be true? Now, I did find, now I will also say that I wish it was in one of Steve Quayle's books, but he was writing about how there is one specific tribe that insists that they were not the mound builders, that it was someone else. I was looking beforehand. Oh, I wish my neighbor's dog would stop. Anyway, I was trying to look beforehand to see where I found that, and I couldn't. But anyway, oh, this is interesting. It shows, this is a map of where all of the findings of giant bones were in the United States. So this isn't something, that doesn't happen. It's just that we're not told about it. It's hidden. And right here, I just want to show you that it does talk about how the mound builder myth, which was the race of giants, was actually, it was a myth, that it was actually the Native Americans who built the mounds. But I want you to notice that it does say that they were very tall individuals. So since they were very tall, people assumed that they could not have been the Native Americans. I think they said that some of them were between 6 and 8 feet tall. There might have even been taller ones, to be quite honest. But the thing is that they thought that there was no way that it could have been the Native Americans then, because Native Americans were not known to be tall. Interestingly, though, what I found was in a book that I'm reading about by Steve Quayle, he actually gets into human genomes, and I'm not going to go like really far into this, and I see like I'm running out of time already, so I'm going to have like a 3-part giant series. But what he talks about is that there's actually a divergence in the haplogroup X. And what is found is that this divergence in the haplogroup is found in a percentage of the Native Americans in North America, and it is actually found that they have a connection to the modern-day Egyptians and to the hills of Galilee in northern Israel and Lebanon. And interestingly, where this strange haplogroup X is turning up is where all of the biblical accounts of giants were. So the question is, yes, if they were the Native Americans who did build these, could they possibly have some of that nephilim DNA? So one more thing that I wanted to go over, because I know I'm not going to get to do much, is that you might be questioning, okay, well then where are all these bones that were found? Because I'm going to be showing you some newspaper accounts in my next video, because I'm not going to be able to do it today. And here we have a story that tells you the Smithsonian admits to destruction of thousands of giant human skeletons in early 1900s. And that is actually something that a lot of people believe, that the Smithsonian took these artifacts out into the ocean and sunk them because they went against the official narrative. And that could very well be the case. So I see that a lot of people are using this as proof that it was true. And I was excited to find it too. But then I saw that it said where facts don't matter. And when I looked it up, I realized that this was actually a satirical article. And unfortunately, a lot of other people don't see that. So they're starting to use this as proof that the Smithsonian did it. And I think that really damages the work that people are doing in trying to discover the truth about giants. So anyway, I'm just about out of time. I hate to do this to you, but I'm going to have to do a part 2 of this video, and I will pick up where I left off here, because we're going to talk about newspaper articles that talk about giants being uncovered in the 1800s. There were a lot of them, and it's something that most people don't know because this is something that was covered. And I've only been focusing on North America. These giant bones have been found worldwide, and I will get to that in another video as well. That's all that I have for you today. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet, I would like to hear more. I would love if you would do that, and I hope you have a great day.